you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
All right, welcome back to Common Folk.
Welcome.
Back on the pod again.
Here we are.
Yep. Every week.
We really haven't missed a week yet.
No, we've been
this
doing
year.
pretty good.
Last year we were a little sketch.
Yeah, we're still figuring everything out, though. Like, we didn't have everything set up. But, no, I think we got into a pretty good rhythm now.
Do you think have you heard from people that are like, hey, I want to hear you every week?
So I've definitely heard from a number of folks that comment, digging what we're doing. I get emails, hey, I got an email last week on the trap shooting and skeet shooting podcast.
Oh, really?
Yep, guy wondering about like, hey, how's this working for you guys? I've got a 6th grader wanting to get involved in it.
Cool.
This kind of thing. So that was cool to hear and interact with them a little bit and just kind of give them our perspective.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not the authority on any of these things.
We kind of got a guy in that was kind of an authority on skeet shooting.
In that particular scenario, absolutely. But it's just it's a matter of just like common sense stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Here's what we're doing and here's what we think. But for sure, we definitely need folks to go on there and do more commenting and rating and all those kinds of things. And again, as always, if you go on there and do that, shoot me an email personally, ben@farmfocused.com, farmfocused.com.
Or head to Instagram and send a message on Common Folk.
Could do
Follow
that
Common
too.
Folk.
But you send a message and you let us know that you did that review and your shirt size, or if you want a hat, and it's coming your way.
All right. Ooh, a hat now? A hat or a T-shirt?
Either way, yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I like that.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. This week we've got a couple of things going on, but there's a couple of hot topics right now that just in general in society. And Andy came across a couple of things here the last few days, so we want to sit down and chat a little bit about this. So what do we got?
Yeah, well, I wanted to throw at you guys is we're kind of talking about different, topics for the pod. How Mr. Beast is having a tough time right now. And you knew who he was, right?
Yeah. We know of Mr. Beast, which a lot of people probably don't.
Right.
But we have a 12-year-old.
Yeah. And that's his shtick. He's a YouTube influencer, and he's on all these different mediums. And his main thing is doing kind of fun, zany videos, usually some type of a game.
Yep.
And a lot of times it's just giving away crazy amounts of money.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know of him is because he's kind of a go-to as far as if you want to build like a viral video or if you want to get a big YouTube channel, study Mr. Beast. And so that I've never watched a full one of his videos because it doesn't turn my crank.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. And that doesn't excite me. Ooh, $10,000 for jumping off of a pier. Whee!
Right.
That's not my type of cup of tea, I guess.
Yeah.
But I do love listening to him talk. Like he was on Fox News not too long ago, just talking about his empire and how he grew it and how he started, and his steps as far as building a script, sticking to a rundown, developing a video that people will watch. That's really good stuff. So like I know of him by listening to him speak and watching some of his interviews on that front.
Okay, so that's interesting to me that you even say that because sometimes when it's on TV, again, Joel's allowed to watch YouTube out in the living room where we can see what he has on. I just hear things up, not watch the whole thing. He seems like he's just shooting shit. Like it doesn't seem very planned out to me. So you're saying it is?
It's very planned out.
Oh, okay.
He is a beast.
So
when it comes to how his story's laid out,
He has it down.
nothing happens by chance on those videos.
He's got a plan, yeah.
Oh,
So anybody that wants to know, go check out the Joe Rogan podcast because Rogan interviewed him.
Yep.
oh, I haven't listened to that.
I want to say it was maybe a year ago. And they get into the details of how he's kind of built his empire and his YouTube following. And bottom line is that the dude is like one of the largest, if not the largest YouTuber on the planet.
Oh, he's one of the top 3 influencers now.
Yeah. And he does big, crazy shit all the time. And he makes a lot of money. And he uses that money and pumps it back into his videos. So, like, if remember the rage with the what was that show? The game, the Squid Game.
Yeah, Squid Game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he made like a spinoff of the Squid Game thing, and that cost a lot of money. For him to put that thing together, and he talked about it on Rogan and how much money he had to put in and build these sets and all these kinds of things. And that's what the dude does. He's smart. He understood how all that works. How do I continue this following? How do I keep people engaged?
Right.
How do I keep it fun? And he 100% believes that he has the formula, and I have no reason to question him.
Oh, I don't either.
He told Rogan that he could take anybody on YouTube and give them the secrets and add like a few 100,000 followers overnight.
Oh, easy.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's not full disclosure though on Rogan. He's not saying everything.
Well, he doesn't sit there and tell you how to do it, but he went into a lot of different things, and he was absolutely a different guy on the podcast than he is in his videos.
Right. Oh, so you think he plays a character in his videos?
I'm not going to say it's a character. I just think it's more PG.
Sure. And more like, yay, zany, kind of like, we're going to throw this many ketchup packets over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where when he got on Rogan, it sounded more of like a, adult that cusses and thinks this and that and whatever.
Gotcha.
Which is typical.
Right. Well, and even on his the interview I watched on, it was either Fox News or Fox Business, like talk about doing a 180 there, right? Going from Nickelodeon type stuff to Fox News. But rather than wearing a collared shirt and be behind his desk and kind of almost look professional, he was laying on his couch with earbuds in, holding his phone up, talking on this interview. I'm like, God, what a weird, when you're thinking of your idols or who you want to be when you grow up, and that's a huge thing now. Like more kids want to be a YouTuber than an astronaut. And that's my hero, this bum laying on a couch with his earbuds in. He couldn't even put on a regular shirt for an interview. For
you know what that is?
Fox News.
That's relatable to...
Sure.
I mean, not to Fox News. I mean, I think that's pretty bummish.
It's
but
tough.
like every video, he's wearing like a white tee or just a t-shirt. I've never seen the guy dress up.
It's tough though because like relatable is one thing in terms of like, oh, that guy he looks like me and he's doing something I could do.
Right.
But also there's a level of professionalism with things, so like how do you present yourself? What kind of pride do you take in how you dress and what you do and how clean you are and wherever else the other things may be.
Okay.
And I almost felt like it was a little bit of a statement like, no, I'm a YouTuber. This is how I'm going to present myself.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, I don't care if I'm on the evening news broadcast here.
And literally
whatever.
And also it's one of those things where it's like I can do this. Like watch, I can do this.
Oh yeah.
And there will be zero effect on my following and on how much money I make.
Mr. Beast has more followers than Miley Cyrus, than Justin Bieber. Like he just crushes them. I'm looking it up right now. 146 million subscribers on YouTube alone.
And he has more than one channel because YouTube, right? The more channels you have, the more money you get.
That.
No, you don't know that?
Sure.
Okay.
So here's another way that he's just brilliant and he's raking in more money. Like you're talking about additional channels. And this was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He was diving into his analytics before, everyone was doing that. He's like, oh my God, the majority of my people that watch these videos don't even speak English. So he started doing a bunch of voiceovers, and now all of his videos are in Spanish, they're in German, they're in all these different areas around the world. And so like he's one of the few channels out there that actually has voiceovers for all of his videos. So like if you're down in Mexico and you speak Spanish, you don't have to just read the subtitles.
I didn't know that.
And a crazy little twist on that I just remembered was he actually hired the guy that did the Spider-Man movies. So like a lot of people down in Mexico think that Mr. Beast is Spider-Man, like in the movies. Like it's just kind of funny. It just kind of happened that way. But no, he's brilliant and he's making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
And just that his main channel, 146 million subs.
I think the bottom line is that the dude figured out the formula. He figured out a way to make this work. He has pretty decent content. Like I've watched some of it, and I never felt like, oh, this isn't something my kid should watch on the stuff that I saw. So I think he does a great job with that. So he just continued to get more and more following, and obviously he's making a lot of money for YouTube. So they're going to continue to promote him. Yeah. And it literally has become a beast. He couldn't have named it anything better.
Right. And he's a generous dude. Like you said, he gives so much of that money back. And a lot of that money that he raises, he gives to the contestants. It's crazy. I think that's another big part of his formula that we kind of breeze over is like when a donor wants to make a big video or be a sponsor for a video, he actually gives all that money away.
Right.
And he makes his money off of different avenues, the AdSense and things of that nature. So in a lot of regards, he is 1-2 steps ahead of everybody, ahead of the game.
And how old is he? I mean, he's young.
Yeah, he's a young guy.
Like, not even...
He started making videos like when he was 16 in high school.
Okay. Oh, you're just playing a video on accident?
I guess so, yeah. And I guess to your point here, I was just looking, and there are...
He's 24.
Dang.
There are ancillary channels.
Yeah.
He's got Beast Philanthropy, Mr. Beast Gaming, Beast Reacts, Mr. Beast 2.
So that's what I've seen is Beast Reacts. It's literally him and one of his buddies, and they play funny videos, and you listen to them react to what the video is or what their take is.
Yep.
You know, I think a lot of people do that.
They do. It's a weird
it is just
thing.
Odd.
So yeah, that's totally what they're doing here. And this one the first one that comes up is him and his buddy that we're going to get into here in a little bit and see kind of what this is all about.
Yeah. So now if you Google Mr. Beast, you don't get flooded with all these crazy fun stats. Another name comes up alongside him, which is one of his business partners, a guy that's always in a lot of these videos by the name of Chris Tyson. And a lot of folks have been noticing him, changing. He's growing his hair out. He's looking a little thinner, maybe not as healthy, but no one say anything, just like, he might be sick. And and what are you going to say? You're changing your hair and we don't like it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not an issue anyway. This Chris Tyson just came out a few days ago saying, well, I'm in the middle of a trans movement. I'm transitioning right now.
Okay.
Yeah. And it, it's
and I know
Mr.
who
Beast
he is.
Yeah. He's this co-star in a lot of these videos and business partner.
So, and I didn't know that. I guess I figured Mr. Beast was paying his buddies to be in these videos, but I mean, he's really his business partner?
That's what I've heard in a couple different interviews and some of these articles. On a lot of fronts, he's a type of a business partner.
Gotcha.
And it makes sense since he's actually in the videos. And when Mr. Beast makes these videos, I mean, he's got a whole bunch of editors, a number of different camera crew, lighting guys, all sorts of grips working for him. Like, it's amazing. What's his name? Aerosmith? The lead singer of Aerosmith. What's his name?
Yeah, that's...
right.
Perry. No, not Tyler. Steven Tyler.
Yes, I was like,
Steven
gosh.
Tyler.
Okay.
He had a great quote one time. He's like, it costs a lot of money to look this cheap. And he was referring to his clothes being all kind of tore up and, different color. And that's the exact same way with how Mr. Beast builds these videos. They look raw. They look rough. But it costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time to make them look that way. Yeah. To where your eyes still go where they're supposed to go. And you get a clear vision picture of what you want, of what he wants you to see, right, in those videos. Yeah. So they're big time productions. They cost a lot, and it appears that Chris Tyson had a lot to do with that. Now, the rub's coming that some people are saying, whoa. So this Chris Tyson is just taking our kids along this transition and didn't even allow us to know about it until now.
Yeah, till you say something.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where you're going to get some blowback, and Mr. Beast had to make a decision. Is he going to fire Chris and keep his channel safe, or is he going to take Chris's side? And he's even, for lack of a better term, stepped on his own dick defending Chris. Because in a couple of tweets he says, he's my friend. Well, He's not a he anymore. I mean, you bigot, Mr.
Yeah.
Beast. I can't. And Mr. Beast, his name is what? Jimmy Donaldson. It's like, Jimmy, I can't believe you'd be so insensitive.
Oh, I think it is Jimmy.
Yeah,
I've heard them say Jimmy.
Jimmy Donaldson. I mean, can you believe that, Ben? He was so insensitive to his friend, calling him he.
Well, and let's
not his
add
pronouns.
let's add another layer. This Chris that is transitioning was or is still married and has a son that's little, maybe 2, 3. So didn't we hear that the reports are the wife is going to be divorcing him?
Yeah,
she
she's
filed.
Yeah, she's filed for a divorce. Yeah.
To this article, he said that they separated in the summer of 22, so a little less than a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Probably when he started this journey.
Most likely, yeah.
And he's also been quoted in saying that he's actually transitioning for his son. So he can show his son his best self, his happiest self.
Which I don't like.
What a joke.
I don't like that.
Pinning that on your son.
Yeah.
You're depriving your son of his father. That's what you're doing, his father figure, and you're also destroying your family. It's just a really high form, a disguised form of narcissism.
Yeah.
Don't give me this other stuff.
Yeah.
You guys know who Jordan Peterson is? I love his stuff.
Yeah.
He wrote 10 Rules of Life or something
Sure.
like that. Was his big book. But he has a good quote that says, once you get your Ivy League degree, you graduate from Princeton, you no longer get to be the victim. You don't get to play the victim card anymore. You are an elite, so knock it off. You don't get to burn it from both ends.
Okay.
All right. And it's with this, it's like you don't get to say you're doing it for your family while you're destroying your family. And you also kind of waited until after you got married, after you had a son, after you started raising him. Like, the timing's off here, buddy. Like, it just makes it pretty tough to support.
And there's so many things going on, and the transgender conversation and all that. We talked about this before we started recording. Like, this could go on and on and on, which we're not going to get into a ton of details. But I guess what I will say is, my standpoint is, if people can do the things that they want to do, if it's not bothering me or causing me trouble or whatever the case may be, then I'm like, hey, do your thing. If they're not directly coming after me, there's a line, in this transgender thing, particular topic that I have in terms of children and adults. So this guy is an adult now. Yeah. So he can make the decisions that he wants to make. The issues that I have is that do you really feel like you need to have it on national television constantly? Because we also hear the other side is like, hey, I just want to be who I want to be and leave me alone. Don't attack me.
There you go.
Don't come after me. Don't judge me. Blah blah blah. But you have decided to put yourself out there. So once you've decided to put yourself out there, then you've decided to take it. Yeah. I mean, it's no different than us doing the podcast right now. Like if someone came at us on email or whatever the case may be, I would listen to it, and I may or may not respond, but I would accept the fact that I made the decision to put this recording out there.
We got to wear it. We're standing behind what we're saying.
Yeah.
Right. And it is kind of scary, there's something to that. But I think what you're getting at is he is taking an approach now where he's forcing it down your throat. Your kids are going to watch this transition with me whether they want to or not. Yeah. It's beyond, hey, just let me be free and let me live my life.
Right. So what he could have done is, yes, if he's a figure on that channel, let's not act like Mr. Beast couldn't have given him a job doing something else, but maybe not being behind the camera. Right?
The problem with that is, well, number one,
he's in the spotlight.
We don't know what Mr. Beast's feelings are on this. So he might be all about it and be like, oh, it's cool, whatever.
He came out and said it was fine.
Right. But, people say a lot of things.
Right.
But the point is that, like, he's kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place, because if he were to come out and be like, no, this is messed up, I don't want this on my channel, blah, 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 it's going to be some national explosion.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's going to be all these crazy things going on. But then on the flip side, if he comes out like he has and says, hey, I think it's ridiculous that people all this transphobia and blah blah blah. That's what he has said.
I know it.
Now he's getting trouble on that side, so he doesn't have he's stuck now. His buddy put him in this spot where he's stuck in the middle here, and what's he gonna do?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like his buddy, his business partner here, his co-host in a lot of these videos, Chris Tyson, was so caught up in making himself happy and living his own happy life that he was willing to just trash his family, destroy it, blow it up, and then also put his business partner in a very, very tough spot. Like these are these are videos kind of built for children, fun little games, right?
Yeah, because really, Mr. Beast, I don't ever hear him cuss. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Like they, like you said, I think they're pretty PG, maybe PG-13.
And even Mr. Beast, whether he wants to say it or not, he understands that this isn't. I don't want my platform to be the battlegrounds for, pro-gay, pro-straight, pro any of it. This is supposed to be a fun Mr. Beast, challenge type of channel.
Yeah, right. And maybe we'll see in time, since this is so fresh, and people will, by hearing this, also maybe look him up and follow a little bit. But maybe this Chris, I don't know what his new name. Does he still want to go by Chris? Because Chris is girl and boy. Maybe he will start taking a backseat.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's
who knows?
That's to be seen. Yeah, this happened 3-4 days ago.
Right. So it's super duper fresh.
Yep. So what's fresh apparently is the media coverage of it, right?
Yeah.
And that Chris came out 3 days ago saying, "Yeah, I'm in transition right now."
Because from the sounds of it, and we don't watch his channel, we don't know. And there may or may not be people listening to us right now that do, and they know. But today, I'm in the truck with my son, 12 years old, and his buddy, who's 12 years old. They watch YouTube all the time. And I just asked him, and I know I've seen it on TV before, hey, do you guys watch Mr. Beast? Are you into that? And they're like, oh, yeah, we watch it, sure. And I go, hey, is there some guy on there who's starting to look like a girl or do some girl stuff or whatever? And they 100% they were like, oh yeah. No, this has been going on for a while.
So they were aloof to it. They knew what was going on.
Yeah. Wow. And I was like, wow. So how long has this been going on? And his buddy was like, oh, it's probably been a year. Now, kids, they have a perspective of time. So has it been a year? I don't know. Either way, it's been long enough for him to think.
Long enough for us to not know.
Well, the husband and wife split up about a year ago, right? Didn't you say that earlier?
Yeah, it's summer 22,
so,
yeah.
So, and they were like, yeah, the guy, he's been, you can just tell the way he looks, and he's been putting fingernail polish on and all these kinds of things. And I'm like, man, so what do you guys think about that, And my son, he goes, well, the guy is he's ruining his life. He's had... And he's watched the guy over the years, so he's he's got kids, he's got a wife, he's got all the things that people would want, a great life, and he's just he's just flushing it down the toilet. And I was like, yeah, that's interesting, man. And I'm not trying to influence him, oh yeah, you're right, or oh no, you need to think about people have choices, or whatever. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just okay, well, that's interesting, man. I don't know. It's just kind of a strange deal, and they were just yep, and they moved on. So it's the kids see this stuff,
right?
And they recognize it, and they recognize something's going on. The way they react, number one, is up to us. So they're going to react in a certain way because of how they've been raised, based on the examples that they've been given. Number two, a little bit of shame on us and anybody else for not having seen this.
Right.
Yeah, I really haven't.
And for not having addressed it prior, because it could be a simple conversation with the kid of hey, I noticed this is what's going on this show that you watch. Let's talk about that a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, it's also just an amazing phenomenon where even PewDiePie, I didn't know who that guy was until South Park did an episode on him over satire. It looked like they were going to, the whole base was, it looked like they're going to smash dog on George Clooney and those guys again because they're saying the biggest star the planet has ever seen. And then it's PewDiePie, this goofy influencer from overseas. And he is I think he's right there with Mr. Beast as far as his influence. And I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
He plays video games and talks about it. And wow, that's what, our kids or children are watching on YouTube. That's what they're consuming for entertainment. And I wouldn't know that guy if he walked by me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a bigger star than Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth combined as far as people that know who he is and watch him.
Yeah, I've heard that name, but I don't know if I walked by him on the side of the road, if I would, you know what I mean? Or past him.
Younger. They're going after a younger demographic than our kids, I think.
Right.
Or not. I don't know.
I think PewDiePie's turned into, he does a little bit of everything now, but it's just entertainment videos. But
Yeah.
And I've watched like 3 or 4 of them just to like try and comprehend what's going on. Once again, not my cup of tea. And he always has different colored hair, so you would know.
Oh, okay.
Know who he
I
is.
gotcha. So I guess what brings up a question to me is this like since the boys, you had this conversation with them, and there were 2 of them, and it was like, oh yeah, this, Joel had his opinion, his buddy said whatever, and then it was like on to the next thing. It seems like it doesn't even faze them. Not that I'm asking that it should, but is this like the new normal? Like they're,
So what I think is, exactly what you're saying right there, and what I was about to say is, this is becoming something that is not a whole lot different than, all right, let's say none of this even existed. We would be having a conversation with our kids, and we have had a conversation with our kids about, like, as an example, the sex talk. So let's talk about that real quick. Like, hey, so here's what you're going to hear. Here's what you might see. Here's what kids at school might say.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Like, you can have that conversation. It's well understood that if you want to grasp on that, you as a parent better talk about that when they're about 4th grade or so, because things are going to start coming up in school. So I think that's what this stuff is becoming, is you have to have that talk up front. You have to hit it. You have to hit it head on early, because it is going to come up, and clearly it's going to come up. It's going to be in the biggest YouTuber's channel as just kind of a background type thing.
And that's what this was for about a year now. We're seeing,
and that's the issue with this, is that it's not blatant and in your face of, oh, hey, look, Chris is turning into a girl. What do you guys think? Blah blah blah. Like it's not. That's not the video. It's him doing little things, and kids who are smart watching that and picking up on the little things that are happening and something's different here. What's this guy doing? Oh, he wants to be a girl. He has kids and a family, and he's tossing that out, and all this kind of stuff.
It's still a form of conditioning a little bit, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I agree. It's
so like that's where I think
grooming a little bit.
Yeah, so that's where I think Mr. Beast is going to feel it the hardest. Is that after we and others like us bring this up and kind of turn people on to what's going on, at least on that channel, among others. Some restrictions are going to be put in order. So out of these 146 million subscribers, what kind of a drop-off are we going to see?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Some raw data to that Dylan Mulvaney stuff, the Bud Light deal. Same story, right? Same frickin' story.
Totally.
In a different light, I guess you could say. Because Bud Light's trying to target kids above 21, right? But I think in 2 weeks' time, their net profit dropped 30%. Now, just think how many millions of dollars that is.
Yeah.
Have they come out and said anything about that?
Yeah, they've said a lot of things.
They have.
And
okay.
They're backtracking pretty good now.
They are.
Yeah.
You can literally go to like any grocery store and walk in the liquor department and see the results.
Did you see that video that it was a distributor dude that got paid by volume that he sold?
I saw that.
Yeah, poor dude. He's like,
know.
man, I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
I just deliver beer and get paid for it.
Again, this is one of those topics that, like I said, we could spend hours on, and I could dig into this for hours. But bottom line for me on those kinds of things and this kind of thing is that the problem I have is you have to do it both ways. So if you take Bud Light as an example, hey, we're going to send some cans to some dude that's pretending to be a girl, and we're going to celebrate him, her, and blah, blah, blah. Great. Have you done any cans of a girl who is actually a girl, who has done a really fucking awesome job at something?
Right.
Yeah, no, you haven't.
Right. So that's my problem. So if they're willing to do both, then it's like, okay, hey, you're doing both.
You're including
whatever.
everybody, but like,
yeah. And with this thing with Mr. Beast, I think the guy, he has to address it. And if he wants to stay on the up and up, he needs to be up front in a video or whatever and just say, hey, look, guys, this is what's going on. This is what Chris is doing. He could have Chris on there. He could talk to him about it, all these kinds of things. Just be up front, like tell the whole story. What you were talking about with like kind of the innuendo and the grooming and whatever people want to call it, when you keep it just kind of like subconsciously subtle, that kind of thing. Yeah. That's where you're intentionally, whether you think you are or not, making an effort to affect what people think.
It's almost like a little white lie. Not telling the truth is actually kind of lying. In a sense. Right?
Yeah. You're withholding some of the truth. For what purpose? You know,
they're acting. They're almost acting like it's not going on, but it is going on.
Right. And then when Chris can't stand it, he's so happy he has to come out with it. The first thing Mr. Beast does is take the offensive. And there's been speculation into that, his tweets. They're like, man, this kind of looks like what a bot would automatically do for him, like a Twitter bot would do for him.
Oh.
So here's something that people need to think about as well that my son told me. So you've got the Mr. Beast channel doing what it is that they're doing.
Okay.
And then you have all of these other YouTubers coming out talking about it and analyzing it and doing exactly what we are doing right here, right now on this podcast. So YouTube's algorithms and all that will start suggesting these videos.
Yeah.
So he has seen one where he said, it was, this other guy, like he just broke it down. He told us all about it. Like, oh, this guy's doing this and doing that. And, this is how he's acting
so that's
and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So the point is like, if you choose not to address it and be open with it, someone else is going to. And everyone's going to see it. Yeah. So you need to be upfront and honest about it and talk about it so that your followers who have been so loyal to you for so long can take some comfort in understanding that you're being upfront and honest.
Yeah, just like everything, you'd rather hear it from the source than from somebody else, right? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because someone else is going to put their own spin on it.
You're exactly right. And I kind of felt like when we were kicking around topics and this one came up, I thought it was, for me anyway, it was more of like a public service announcement. Like, I didn't know this stuff until,
completely agree.
So, and I think a lot of our listeners are core fans, They're like, who's Mr. Beast? So it's just making people aware.
So I've got good buddies who have kids that are, 12 years old and younger. And that means they're all into YouTube. And I literally text them today about this. And two of them who would be the ones who would be most exposed to this thing, their kids would be most exposed to this thing. They both said, I did not know that's going on and I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Really?
There you go. So.
And I kind of feel like a dumbass because here I was like, yep, he only watches YouTube out. But again, like I could be working, Ben might be home or whatever at the computer or vice versa. It's on the main TV. He knows he's not going to watch something dicey, but that we didn't even catch it, that also sucks. But, I don't know. I guess I don't feel alone then.
Yeah, right. This isn't like a transphobic,
not at all
conversation that we're trying to do right now. The point is like Andy said, this is what's going on. A lot of people don't realize it. From one of the biggest,
the biggest,
the biggest. Excuse me. You could call it a media outlet.
Yeah, influencer whatever.
On the planet, and most people don't even know what's going on, right or wrong. You need to know what's going on, and you need to be able to have that conversation with your kids to go through, what do you think about this? What are you seeing? How does this make you feel? Let me give you my perspective. Let me talk to you about what me and mom think or me and dad think or whatever. I mean, it's just that's what people have to do.
Yeah, I truly think you said it best when it has to be a conversation at the house. Like you said, the sex talk. It just has to be something that parents are now needing to talk to their children about because we're going to be seeing it more and more.
Sure.
And
Sure. Yeah.
But didn't you say, do you want to touch on that Super Mario?
Oh, should we say that for another one?
Okay. Okay.
It was along the same lines, but that was more of like microaggressions and just how far off base the critics have been recently with not only movies but books too, that they just know that the general public won't like.
Yeah.
But they're wrong. And that stuff's been going on for quite a while. Even Top Gun back in the day, back in like 1989 when the original, that got tore apart. They're like, this is a terrible movie. The critics tore it apart.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And
The bottom line is people are going to tear apart anything that they can, especially if they have a platform to do it.
Yeah.
And
That's not what we're doing here. We're not tearing apart Mr. Beast or even Chris Tyson here. We're just trying to put some light on it and make people aware of what's actually going on there and why it's all of a sudden in the headlines.
Yeah, and we're trying to take that common sense perspective on it. I mean, for myself personally, do I agree with the whole transgender movement? I'm going to say right now that no, in general, I don't. But
I just got you a pair of high heels, though. I'll take them back.
Right. I think there's things going on there that people need to have a upfront conversation about. But that isn't what this conversation today is about. This conversation today is about, hey man, this is going on a huge national stage. You probably don't know about it. Your kids are getting influenced.
They know about it.
Yeah,
I guess.
And they think it's normal.
Admittedly,
you just learned this morning.
Our kid knows about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
And we didn't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so open your eyes a little bit. Figure out, quit. That's the point, is you have to quit fighting it in a way, because you're not going to stop it.
Yeah.
No.
But then how do you have a positive influence on the kids that you're raising and on your family to understand it?
I mean, and it's the same thing, just repackaged like you're saying. You can't just assume because YouTube deems that child safe content that it is by your parameters, by your standards. So you got to take an extra minute and actually watch what your kids are consuming.
You can throw all the spears and everything you want at YouTube. It doesn't freaking matter, man.
No,
they're not going to change.
Either. Yeah.
They're going to do whatever they want to do.
It's a private owned company. They get to make their own rules, move their own goalposts, and they should have the freedom to do that. I truly believe that.
You have your own rules and your own guidelines and your own way of life and your own household. So understand what's going on and have an open and honest conversation.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah. Not much else to add, but really.
I think before long, this topic is going to continue to come up, and we are going to tackle it again from a couple of different angles. But with this particular one right now, I mean, this kind of is what it is. It's what we got.
Yep. And it's a fresh story, and I just kind of want to get something out there, so I thought it was appropriate, good timing for it.
It is. Yeah. Thank you. So, thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Yeah. Well, then, you should have just asked Joel. He would have filled you in.
Yeah, no kidding. Golly.
That's crazy.
Oh, crazy. All right. Well, nice seeing you guys.
Shut this thing down and go mushroom hunting or something.
All right. Sounds good. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Let's get out there.
Peace.
All right.
Later.
See ya. The Common Folk Podcast is brought to you by one of the newest and coolest brands in the outdoors, Stock and Rod. Stock and Rod brings to the outdoors person quality apparel items that you can be proud to sport. The gear is top-notch and the designs are second to none. Stock and Rod also represents some of the biggest names in the outdoor social media and YouTube space by handling the design, production, and sale of their own branded merch. Check them out at www.stockandrod.com. Stock and Rod. Wild game on.